What's the best 2D Zelda game? And why is it the Minish Cap? Long ago, many years before the advent of handheld 3D gaming, before the incorporation of touchscreen technology, Nintendo graced the world with the Game Boy Advance. Fossil evidence tells us this thing was pretty sweet, with its one technological shortcoming later overcome by the release of the Game Boy Advance SP. This was a handheld console fit for a king. And many kings it had! Well, I could make an entire video about my love affair with many of the games in the Game Boy Advance's illustrious library, but today we're talking about one in particular. But first, let's rewind. Now, ancient texts tell us of a simpler time, a time when humans would go outside, engage in physical rituals called sports, and play on their Nintendo Entertainment System. This console also supported many great games, but the one that we're primarily concerned with is the Legend of Zelda, the first installation in a storied franchise that has captured the hearts of many, myself included. Now, what started out as a 2D dungeon crawler action-adventure game morphed into the standard for 3D adventure games, and has now transformed into an open-world masterpiece with boundless potential to do even more. But even while Nintendo was transforming the series, they continued to churn out quality 2D titles. So, what is the best 2D Zelda game? And why is it the Minish Cap? Well, to start, it's beautiful. I mean, that's not to say that there's anything wrong with the other 2D Zeldas from an artistic perspective, but it's hard not to love the cartoonish designs carried over from Wind Waker and Four Swords Adventures. Alongside the gorgeous environments and excellent colors spread throughout, there's some humor to be found in it as well. And, speaking of humor, the game knows just how seriously to take itself, with Ezlo taking Pat form for much of the game. He provides ample comic relief, even if it's not always completely intentional. Beyond Ezlo, the other characters you meet have the same Zelda charm that we all know and love. There are plenty of familiar faces and some adorable newcomers as well to round it off. But when it comes down to it, what I often love most about Zelda games are three things: the story, the dungeons, and the items. Minish Cap's story on the surface may seem like your average Zelda adventure. Blonde dude is sleeping, gotta save a princess. I mean, hey, it works, right? Who can blame him? But the story is so much more than that, and it expands on the Zelda universe in a way that blew my 12-year-old mind when I played it for the first time. I was particularly interested in the Minish themselves, and thankfully much of your adventure in this masterpiece involves shrinking down to their size to overcome obstacles and explore unique areas. In fact, 2 of the game's dungeons are explored entirely while fun-sized. Which brings me to another point. I love Zelda dungeons, and I know I've said it once, but I'll say it again. I love Zelda dungeons. I mean, I suppose that's technically the 3rd time, but that doesn't matter. What does matter is how well Minish Cap pulls off the 2D dungeon crawler aspect. While mostly linear, the dungeons do offer a healthy combination of combat and puzzle solving, and the bosses at the end of all but one feel extremely rewarding to overcome. Typically, in true Zelda fashion, thanks to the items acquired in their respective caverns. Alongside fun newcomers like the Gus Jar and the Mole Mitts, this game sees the return of Rock's Cape, introduced in Oracle of Seasons, and back again, allowing Link to not only shoot, bomb, slice, or suck his enemies, but jump over them too. So, much like most Zelda titles, the Minish Cap is an excellent game. And thanks to Nintendo's Nintendo Switch Online expansion pass, it is now available for a whole new swath of people who weren't around in prehistoric times like I was to enjoy. So if you haven't played it, you should. And if you have played it, play it again. You deserve it. I'm LP. I play Nintendo games and I talk a lot. And if you're into that, like the video, subscribe, and I'll see you next time.